I think that if we continue to, you know, be allies without being performative allies, we're going to make sustainable change. And that's really exciting for me, especially in the sport where, it's it's a tough sport. It really is. Like, it's hard. It's hard. It's a tough community too. Locker room culture is tough, but, if we keep having these conversations, we're going to get to a different point, and it's exciting. I'm Rachel Greenstein. I will be 23 next week. Um, and I honestly wouldn't really be having this conversation if it weren't for you, Brock, and one of my good friends. Um, you really helped me a lot. I appreciate that a lot. Like, I really, really do. You mean a lot to me, Brock. You really do. Um, but yeah, I am a disgustingly loving hockey fan, a little too much. Um, I grew up playing hockey, watching hockey, and now I work in hockey. So literally everything in my life is hockey, which I'm sure all of my friends hate that because they don't want to listen to me talk about it. Um, but yeah, hockey's been a huge role in my life. Um, and now that I work in it, it's even bigger role in my life. I had to stop playing because I destroyed my knee playing, and I had 3 knee surgeries. But I'm still trying to keep myself involved in hockey, even though I can't really play or skate as well as I used to.
Well, I want to thank you for the kind words. I really appreciate that. And congratulations on, accepting who you are. And I think that matters and is really important.
Thank you.
How did Rachel get into hockey?
Honestly, there was never really a certain point where I got into it. It almost feels like I kind of just fell headfirst into it. I remember when I was really little, like 5 years old or something. Since I'm the younger sibling, I had to go to literally every single event of my brother's. And he played roller hockey, and I remember being like, I want to do that too. And then I kind of progressed to ice hockey when I was older, and it was also something that I did a lot with my dad. Growing up, unfortunately, dad and I weren't as close as we are now. Um, and but hockey was one thing that brought us together a lot. Yeah, and it was something that we always did together. He would take me to hockey practice, and we'd sit on the couch and watch hockey together. It was something that really, really bonded us a lot.
I love that. And I love when hockey, or sport or anything that brings family closer together is really cool. What do you love about hockey?
There's a lot of it, honestly. I mean, I loved playing it. It was probably the most fun sport I've ever played. Uh, there's no better feeling than stepping onto a fresh sheet of ice, especially after I got my knee surgeries. Going back onto the ice, I almost cried because I had missed it so much and it felt so great to be back. But it's so exciting. It has that element that other sports don't. Or let me fix that. It has elements of all the best parts of other sports, like the speed of basketball, the hand-eye coordination of baseball, the physical element of football. It just takes all these great aspects of other sports and just puts it into one.
I love that. It's so true. And it's a good way to look at it because it does intersect with every other sport. And I'm surprised more people don't recognize that.
Right? Yeah, it's such an underrated sport.
It really is. Based off your intersection of identities, how could hockey be better for you? And how could it be better for the queer community as a whole?
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of what hockey does feels very performative. I mean, we are very lucky that our dear friend Curtis Gabriel is doing God's work. um, he's really done a lot for this community, and it's really awesome to see him do his thing. But only one person doing that's not gonna like change the world. Granted, he has done a ton of work, and that is not discrediting him whatsoever. I'm so proud of him and see him grow as a person. But, I feel like if the actual league itself and other teams start doing the same work that Curtis has been doing, then we will see some sustainable change. But right now, it's pretty much just Curtis. And, I'm sure he's exhausted. He's one person trying to represent a whole community. And that's exhausting. It really is.
Especially when it's not even your community and you're just doing it because you care and you've seen so many lived
Right,
experiences of people who have struggled within it because you've been vocal.
right.
It's sad. It's sad that, you know, he has to carry that so often. But I wish he'd stop eating plain baked potatoes. That's a
The
story for another
potato
day.
power.
Yeah. I can't. I'm just so happy his season's over so I don't have to see that every morning. Um in knowing that and where the culture and the sport is, what keeps you in hockey?
Well, I think people like Curtis, especially, again, it is a really tough culture, um, especially with the hyper masculine aspect to it. Yeah, we're not in a place right now where, people are coming out while still playing. Um, and, I'd love to see us get to that point though. Because, representation is really important. Um, and again, like Curtis is doing a lot of really great work right now, but he doesn't fall into the community. And again, not discrediting his work, it's amazing what he's doing, but it would be really helpful to see someone who does identify on the spectrum in that position because again, representation is really important. I mean, I think part of why it took me so long to like understand and come to terms with the fact that I'm aromantic is the fact that it's not really something people talk about. I didn't even really know what it was until one of my good friends brought it up to me a few years ago. And I was like, yeah, that actually sounds about right. But like, I had never heard of it before. And I think that's something that a lot of people have never heard of, and a lot of people don't understand either. I mean, I just came to terms with this not too long ago. This is basically me. I'm basically using this as an opportunity to be like, surprise, I'm on the spectrum. But I still have a lot to learn too. Um, but I feel like if we get to a point where we're talking about it more, then we can grow as a community.
What gives you hope for the queer community in the sport?
I think, I mean, granted, even though it is really performative, the fact that the league and teams are acknowledging it, that's a big step, even though, it is corporate culture. Um, but like teams like the Seattle Kraken, even though they don't even have a roster yet, they are genuine about it. They actually make strides to make people feel comfortable and feel like they have a place. And, again, they don't even have a roster yet. They're not even really a team yet. They will be soon, but the fact that they kind of came out running immediately, they when they were announced, they immediately made it clear that they stood with the LGBTQ plus community. And that gives me a lot of hope because if teams follow suit like that, then we're going to get into a position where people are going to feel more comfortable coming out, or maybe even like the people in the league might inspire people to come out if they aren't already. Because I mean, realistically, there's literally no chance that there's not a single person on the spectrum in the league. It just like the statistic wise, there's not a chance. It doesn't work like that. But I think that if we continue to, be allies without being performative allies, we're going to make sustainable change. And that's really exciting for me, especially in the sport where, it's it's a tough sport. It really is. Like it's hard. It's hard. It's a tough community too. Locker room culture is tough. But, if we keep having these conversations, we're going to get to a different point, and it's exciting.
I love that. Rachel, I want to thank you. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being open and honest. And thank you for, being and living as your authentic self. It matters. And I appreciate you.
And I appreciate you so much for helping me figure this out too. I mean, you mean so much to me, Brock. I keep saying that, but you mean so much to me.
Thank you.